Hi guys, welcome to the channel and thanks very much for joining us to the channel today. Like I promised, we've got our brand new video. Today we are going to be talking about life sciences. We are specifically concentrating on the topic of the blood circulation system. I found it to be relevant because it's one of the topics that is going to be examined this trial exams or tests in the grade 10. So that is our primary topic for discussion today. Again, guys, the purpose of the channel is to make sure that we discuss critical elements, the elements that the kids are struggling with, as well as critical subjects and areas that might help the kids to ace their exams. So this is one of the series of the videos that are going to be coming that are going to help young ones with how to ace your exams with very good marks. So without wasting time, I'm going to share my screen and then we can begin our class for today. Our class for today is based on the question paper for Eastern Cape, province of Eastern Cape, which is the National Senior Certificate Grade 10, November 2020. But with this question paper, we are just going to focus on the topics that are relevant to what we are discussing today. So again, I've chosen a real question so that we can look at typical questions that you may struggle with and tackle them so that we show you how to answer them and how to answer them correctly. So without wasting time, let's get into question one. Question one, choosing the relevant questions, it says various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the correct answer and write only one letter, A to D, next to the question numbers 111 to 1110 in the answer book. For example, 1111 answer is D. Question, which one of the following vessels, blood vessel, supply the heart with blood? A lot of kids might fall in the trap of just writing the answer. So let's say, for example, they see the answer is aorta, get excited, and then they write 111 aorta. That's mistake number one, guys. You will lose marks. Remember, the instruction is asking us to write the correct letter next to the answer that we are trying to answer. So 111, which one of the following blood vessels supply the heart with blood? That would be the coronary artery. So the coronary artery and the coronary vein are the ones that supply the heart with blood or removes the blood from the muscles of the heart. So the coronary artery is the correct answer. But what we write in our answer book, we write 111. Correct answer is B. So we just write B. Okay, let's move on to 112. 112, the question says, which one of the following statements are correct about the heart? So we've got four options there. The pulmonary circuit pumps blood from the right side of the heart to the lungs. The pulmonary circuit pumps blood from the left side of the heart to the lungs. So the first two answers are focusing on the pulmonary circuit. The last two are focusing on the systematic circuit. So for you to know the answer, maybe it's better for you to just focus on one. Let's look at the pulmonary circuit and let's look at which one is the correct options from the two that has been provided. Well, if you look there, these two answers are different from maybe one of the exam trick is to check why are they, what is the difference between the two. So the other one says pulmonary circuit pumps blood from the right side. The other one says from the left side. So let's see which one is correct. Does it pump from the right side or from the left side? So for me to be able to explain this to you nicely, let me go to the diagram of the heart that we have in our question paper so that we can be able to see if we can answer that question. So looking at this heart, I think your teachers have already taught you that if you are looking at the diagram, your left-hand side becomes your right-hand side. Your right-hand side becomes the left-hand side. So looking at the muscles that are marked 2 and the one that is on top. So there's one that is on top taking blood away from the heart, and then there are vessels that are bringing blood back to the heart. So the one that is taking the blood away from the heart is the pulmonary artery. The one that is bringing the blood back to the heart, which is labeled 2, that's the pulmonary vein. So this pulmonary artery is it taking the blood away from the left-hand side or the right-hand side? So what I've just taught you now is our right-hand side becomes the left, our left-hand side becomes the right. So that one is coming from the right ventricle. So it is coming from the right-hand side of the heart. So it's coming from the right-hand side, which is this side, and it's going to the lung. So we want to see one that says coming from the right to the lung. So the first one says pulmonary circuit pumps blood from the right-hand side to the lung. So that is the correct answer. That is the correct option that we are seeing there. 1, 1, 2, the correct answer is A. So because the question is saying choose only one, which means the rest of them will be wrong. We can check them. Like for example, B says from the left to the lung, which is wrong. Systematic pumps blood from the right-hand side of the heart to the lungs, also wrong. The systematic circuit pumps blood from the right-hand side of the heart to the body. So guys, whilst we are still on this question, because remember, I'm also helping you with the whole topic of the heart. So this question is focusing on the pulmonary circuit and the systematic circuit. So here are the things that we need to know. Pulmonary circuit is associated with the lung. So the pulmonary artery carries the blood from the heart to the lungs, and then the pulmonary vein carries the blood from the lungs to the heart. So remember, the word artery is associated with carrying the blood away from the heart, and then the vein is associated with carrying the blood from wherever it's coming from to come back to the heart. So vein carrying the blood back to the heart, artery carrying the blood from the heart to away from the heart. So basically the answer for 112 is 1. Systematic circuit is when the blood is being pumped away from the heart to the rest of the body, or from the rest of the body back to the heart. So if the body and the rest of the tissues in the body are involved, that's a systematic circuit. If the lungs are involved, whether it's to the heart or to the lungs or from the lungs, that is what we call the pulmonary circuit. Okay, moving on very quickly, we are going to look at the other questions are not relevant. So let's move straight to question 1.2. Question 1.2, give the biological term for each of the following descriptions. Write only the term next to the question numbers 121 to 129 in the answer book. The question is actually given us instructions to write only the term next to the question number. So let's see how it is done. 121, the type of muscle that the heart consists of. We know that the type of muscle that the heart consists of, the muscles that are surrounding the heart, they are called the cardiac muscles. Remember, it's called the cardiac cycle because it's the heart, but the muscles that are surrounding the heart is called the cardiac muscles. Okay, so we write 121 cardiac muscle. That's how we write it because the question asks us to write the biological term. Okay, moving on, 122. The question says pigment found in red blood cells? What is the pigment that is found in red blood cells? So that pigment, the color that is found that makes the red blood cells to be red, the blood to be red, it's called the hemoglobin. So it's the hemoglobin that is the pigment that is found in the red blood cells. So writing our answers, we write 122 hemoglobin. That's it. And then question 1, 2, 3, using the same format, lymph fluid when it leaves the blood vessel and bathes the cells. The answer there is tissue fluid. So the answer there is tissue fluid. Let's move on to 124. 124, it's also a question associated with these life processes. So we are going to just take it as we are doing the other question. Showing slowing down of body processes when temperatures drop. When temperatures drop and then the body processes slows down or takes it slow so that it can be able to conserve whatever is available, it's called hibernation. So the answer for 1, 2, 4 is hibernation, but we're also not going to do the other questions because they are not relevant to the topic for today. 1, 3, indicate whether each of the statements in column 1 applies to A only, B only, both A and B, and none of the items in column 2. Write A only, B only, both A and B, or none next to the question numbers. So we are going to come up with A only, B only, both A and B, or none. Question 131 from column A, it says blood vessels with walls only one cell layer thick. Blood vessels with only one cell layer thick. So what they're telling us is which ones are the blood vessels which has got very thin layers or very thin lining, in other words. So that will be the capillaries. We have capillaries on column 2. No, we don't. We've got the vein, we've got the artery, and there's no capillaries there. So the correct option that is going to make up our answer is none. None is the answer that we are going to write. 131, answer is none. So just as a little bit of an explanation, the blood vessels with walls with only one cell layer thick is the capillaries. The reason why they are thin is because they need to allow the diffusion of substances from one side to another. So to be specific there, from the body tissues, there is diffusion of carbon dioxide as well as waste products into the capillaries so that it can be transported to the heart and to the lungs. On the other hand, from the capillaries, there is oxygen and there is also nutrients that are coming, oxygen coming from the lungs, and then nutrients that are coming from the walls of the stomach, which is going to be needed by the tissues in the rest of the body. So those ones diffuse from the capillaries into the tissues of the rest of the body. So that is the reason why these capillaries do need to be thin or do need to have one cell layer in terms of their thickness. They are made up of endothelial cells, and which allows these processes that we are talking about. Okay, let's move on. We are going to move on to the heart itself. Question 1.4. We are going to do it very quickly as well, as we don't have much time. The diagram below shows the internal structure of the human heart. So we can see the parts of the heart are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we are going to look at 1, 4, and 6. They need us to label 1, 4, and 6. So part 1 is the aorta. Why do I say it's the aorta? We can see the arrows. Arrows are showing us that it's carrying the blood away from the heart. So it's an artery. And because it is associated with the left-hand side, carrying the blood from the left-hand side of the heart, then it becomes the aorta artery. Part 4 is the part that is dividing the left-hand side to the right-hand side of the heart. That wall, we call it the septum. The septum is the part that is dividing the left-hand side from the right-hand side of the chambers of the heart. Part number 6, or part labeled 6, that's a valve. But guys, how do we differentiate between the tricast valve and the bicast valve? Okay, here is the trick. I told you the right-hand side of the heart becomes the left and the left becomes the right. So when I'm looking at 6, using that concept, 6 is supposed to be the right-hand side of the heart. So on the right-hand side, the word right goes with tri. Left goes with bi. Okay, so let's repeat that until we know it. Right and tri. Bi and left. So tricast valve is found on the right-hand side. Bicast valve is found on the left-hand side. Okay. So the part number 6 is the tricast valve. 142, where is blood at 2 coming from? So if we look at part 2, I did explain to it a little bit. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 3 of these. There's 2 which are bringing in blood to the heart, which is labeled 2. And then right on top of it, we've got 1 carrying blood away from it. So if you just know those 3 that are here, those are pulmonary, either pulmonary vein or pulmonary artery. We have already mastered the concept of an artery is carrying blood away from the heart. The vein is bringing the blood from wherever it's coming from back to the heart. So 2, it's a vein. That's point number 1. And because it's one of these 3, it's the pulmonary vein. So this is pulmonary vein. Where is the blood coming from? I said the pulmonary circulation is associated with the lung. The first one is going to the lungs. The other 2 are coming back from the lungs. So it's coming from the lungs. 142, the answer is lung. That's the answer there for that 1 mark, which is expected there. 143. Name the process that occurs when the structures at 3 contract together. So the process that occurs there, guys, is the structure at 3. What are the structures at 3? Structures at 3 are ventricles. So the 3 is ventricles, and then the ones that are on top, those 2 chambers that are on top there, they are called the atria. If it is 1, it's called atrium. If there are 2, they are called the atria. So those ventricles, what's going to happen is when they contract, I think also your teachers have taught you that the contraction of these chambers, when they contract, we call it a systole. When they relax, we call it a diastole. So a systole is when they contract. These 2 on 3, if they are contracting, that's the ventricular systole. And then the ones on top, the top chambers, when they are contracting as well, we call it the atrial systole. Then, if the 4 muscles, the 4 chambers are relaxing, the muscles of the 4 chambers are relaxing, we call that the diastole. So now, guys, the significance of this is that these ones at 3, when they contract, they are squeezing the bottom part of the heart, the bottom chambers of the heart, and that causes the blood to be forced up into those tubes there, into those parts that are where the arrows are showing. So the blood goes there. Why it goes there is because we've got the tricars and the bicars before. So the blood cannot go back to the atria, but it is forced to go up where the arrows are, either into the pulmonary artery or into the aorta artery. So this is where the significance of the ventricular systole. What is the significance of the atrial systole, where the top part, which is the top chambers, are contracting? They squeeze and then they push the blood from the atria into the ventricles. So that's what happens there. And then what happens if the four muscles are relaxing? So during that time, the blood fills up the atria, or the left-hand side atrium and the right-hand side atrium of the heart. Okay, let's move on to 144. Describe the oxygen content of the blood in structure number 5. Structure number 5, that's the vena cava. That's the vena cava that is bringing blood back to the heart. So that vena cava is bringing blood that has been already coming from the rest of the body. Oxygen has been used. It has got high level of carbon dioxide and a high level of waste products that are coming from the rest of the body. In terms of the aorta, it has got a high level of oxygen. It is carrying blood that has just come from the lungs, and it is carrying it to the rest of the body so that the body can be supplied with oxygen and nutrients. So the answer for 144, direct answer, describe the oxygen content of the blood structure in structure number 5. It has got a low level of oxygen. It has got a low level of oxygen. Okay, let's move on, guys. The other things I might have wanted to explain is that this is the structure of the heart. I think I've explained a few things already in terms of the parts that are there. If there are some parts that I've left out, I've already explained 6 tricuspid valve. I've explained 5 as the vena cava. I've explained 4 as the septum, 3 as the ventricles, 2 as the pulmonary veins, and then the other one that has not been labeled, that's the pulmonary artery. 1 as the aorta, that is taking away the blood from the heart. So I think, guys, we have explained a little bit more on the heart. For those ones who have got some questions on the heart, please feel free to get in touch with us on the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you find it helpful, so that we can make some more useful videos like this on various topics that you may be struggling with. Also, feel free to give us some ideas of some of the videos that you think might be useful that we can discuss at this channel next time when we are creating another video. Thanks again for watching. Again next time, this is me signing out.